Welcome to Living Well After 50. Today we're exploring what intermittent fasting can do for your body after 50. Now, before you think this is just another diet fad, let me assure you it's not about restricting what you eat,
Right.
but rather when you eat.
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction. You see, intermittent fasting is all about creating cycles between periods of eating and voluntary fasting. It's not about deprivation or starving yourself. It's a strategic approach to give your digestive system a break and allow your body to tap into its fat reserves for energy.
So it's like giving our metabolism a bit of a shakeup.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued, but how exactly does this flipping the metabolic switch thing work?
Well, think of it this way. Most of the time, our bodies rely on glucose from the food we eat for energy. But when we fast, those glucose stores get depleted, and our clever bodies start looking for an alternative fuel source, stored fat. So by strategically timing our meals, we can actually encourage our bodies to become more efficient fat burners.
That makes sense. But I imagine there are different ways to approach intermittent fasting. Is it like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing?
Not at all. There are several popular methods, each with its own nuances. One that's gained a lot of traction, especially for beginners, is the 168 method. This involves fasting for 16 hours and having an 8-hour eating window. For instance, you might finish dinner by 8 p.m., skip breakfast, and then have your first meal around noon the next day.
That sounds pretty doable. I could definitely see myself trying that. But what about those of us who enjoy a leisurely breakfast? Are there other options?
Absolutely. The 5.2 method offers more flexibility. It involves eating normally for 5 days a week and then restricting your calorie intake to about 500 to 600 calories for 2 non-consecutive days.
So a bit more freedom to choose your fasting days.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons of this method compared to the 168?
Well, the 5.2 method can be easier to stick to for some people because it doesn't require daily fasting. However, those 2 calorie-restricted days might feel quite challenging, especially if you're new to fasting. The 168 method, on the other hand, becomes more routine once your body adjusts.
Okay, so it really depends on individual preferences and lifestyles. Now, I'm curious about what we can actually consume during those fasting periods. Is it strictly water, or are there other beverages allowed?
Staying hydrated is paramount during fasting, especially for us over 50, as our sense of thirst can diminish with age. Water is your best friend, of course. But you can also enjoy black coffee and unsweetened tea. These beverages won't break your fast.
Ah, so no sneaking in a biscuit with that afternoon cuppa then.
Got it.
But seriously, good to know we can still enjoy our morning coffee ritual. Now, let's talk about the potential health benefits. What makes intermittent fasting particularly relevant for those of us over 50?
Well, research suggests a whole host of potential benefits, many of which directly address concerns that become more prevalent as we age. For instance, intermittent fasting has been linked to improved gut health, which is crucial for overall well-being and can become more sensitive as we get older.
Interesting. I've heard a lot about the importance of gut health lately. How does intermittent fasting play a role in that, especially for us more seasoned folks?
As we age, our digestive processes can slow down, leading to discomfort and other issues. Intermittent fasting can help improve gut motility, those muscle contractions that move food through your system. Plus, by giving your gut a break from constant digestion, it can reduce inflammation and promote the growth of beneficial gut bacteria.
Okay, so better digestion and a happier gut. What else? Don't hold back.
Well, how about we tackle that stubborn belly fat that seems to have a mind of its own after 50? Studies have shown that intermittent fasting can be particularly effective in reducing visceral fat. That's the dangerous fat that surrounds our organs.
No, you're speaking my language. Tell me more. How does it work?
Remember how we talked about the body switching to fat as fuel during fasting? Well, that process targets visceral fat in particular. Plus, intermittent fasting helps improve insulin sensitivity, which further aids in reducing belly fat and managing blood sugar levels.
This is fascinating. I know many of our listeners, myself included, are concerned about blood sugar control, especially with the increased risk of type 2 diabetes after 50. Are there any studies that back this up?
Absolutely. There's a growing body of research showing that intermittent fasting can lead to significant improvements in blood sugar regulation. For instance, a 2023 study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that participants over 55 who followed the 168 method experienced a significant reduction in fasting blood glucose levels and improved insulin sensitivity.
That's really encouraging. But it's not just about weight and blood sugar, right? I've heard that chronic inflammation is a major culprit behind many age-related health issues. Can intermittent fasting help with that too?
You're right. Chronic inflammation is a sneaky saboteur, and it's linked to everything from heart disease and cancer to arthritis. And yes, studies suggest that intermittent fasting can help reduce inflammation throughout the body.
This is all very promising. But before we get too carried away, let's talk about the potential downsides. Are there any risks or drawbacks we should be aware of?
Of course, it's crucial to be aware of both sides of the coin. While intermittent fasting is generally safe for healthy adults, there can be some initial side effects as your body adjusts to the new eating pattern.
Like what? Fill us in.
Some people experience headaches, fatigue, or irritability in the beginning. These are usually temporary and subside as your body adapts.
Ah, the dreaded detox symptoms. Been there. Anything else to watch out for?
Another potential pitfall is overeating on non-fasting days. It's important to remember that intermittent fasting isn't a license to binge. You still need to make healthy food choices and be mindful of your portion sizes.
That makes perfect sense. So it's about finding a balance and listening to our bodies right.
Exactly. And speaking of listening to your body, there are certain groups of people who should avoid intermittent fasting altogether or consult with their doctor before trying it.
Okay, good.
This includes anyone under 18, pregnant or breastfeeding women, and individuals with a history of eating disorders. If you have a medical condition such as diabetes or a heart condition, it's crucial to talk to your doctor before making any significant dietary changes.
Sound advice. It's always best to err on the side of caution and get personalized guidance.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are intrigued by the potential benefits of intermittent fasting, remember that knowledge is power. Take the time to learn about the different methods, the science behind it, and talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you.
Great advice. And for our listeners who want to delve deeper into this topic, we have a treasure trove of information in our free Living Well After 50 newsletter. You'll find the link in the episode description. It's packed with practical tips, insights, and resources to support you on your journey to living your best life after 50 and beyond. We'll be back in a moment to explore more about the fascinating world of intermittent fasting and how it can help you thrive.
We've talked about some compelling benefits, but there's another aspect of intermittent fasting that I find particularly fascinating, its potential impact on our brain health.
Oh, that's a topic close to my heart, literally. As we get older,
Mhm.
I think many of us worry about staying sharp mentally. What does the research say about intermittent fasting and cognitive function?
There's growing evidence suggesting that intermittent fasting can have a positive impact on brain health, especially as we age. Some studies have shown that it can enhance memory, improve cognitive performance, and even offer protection against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's.
That's remarkable. What's the connection there? How does fasting benefit the brain?
Well, it seems that intermittent fasting triggers a process called autophagy, which is essentially the brain's way of cleaning house. During fasting periods, brain cells get rid of damaged components and recycle themselves, promoting better overall function.
So it's like a spring cleaning for the brain. I love that analogy.
Exactly. And there's more. Intermittent fasting also increases the production of a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which is like fertilizer for brain cells. BDNF helps neurons grow and thrive, leading to better cognitive function and resilience to stress.
Wow, that's impressive. So not only does intermittent fasting help our bodies burn fat and regulate blood sugar, but it also gives our brains a boost. This is really changing my perspective on this whole approach.
It's truly remarkable how interconnected our bodies are and how simple changes in our eating patterns can have such profound effects on multiple systems.
You mentioned earlier that there are some specific studies that you find particularly compelling when it comes to intermittent fasting and aging. Can you share a couple of examples?
Certainly. One study that stands out involved adults over 60 who followed the 168 method for 12 weeks. The researchers found significant improvements in insulin sensitivity, a reduction in belly fat, and even a decrease in markers of inflammation.
So tangible benefits for people in our age group. That's encouraging to hear.
Another study focused on the impact of alternate day fasting on heart health in older adults. The results were quite impressive. Participants experienced lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol levels, and even enhanced heart function.
Wow, that's really significant. It seems like intermittent fasting could be a valuable tool for improving our cardiovascular health as we age.
Indeed. And the research continues to evolve. Scientists are exploring various aspects of intermittent fasting, including its potential role in cancer prevention, longevity, and even mood regulation.
This is truly groundbreaking stuff. Now, before we wrap up, I'm curious about the practical side of things. What advice would you give to our listeners who are interested in trying intermittent fasting but might feel a bit overwhelmed?
It's understandable to feel a bit apprehensive, especially with all the information out there. My first piece of advice, as always, is to talk to your doctor to make sure intermittent fasting is safe for you.
Always good to get personalized guidance from a healthcare professional. What else?
Start slow and gradually. Don't feel like you have to jump into a 16-hour fast right away. Maybe begin by extending your overnight fast by an hour or two and gradually increase the fasting window as you feel more comfortable.
So ease into it and listen to your body's cues.
Precisely. And remember, it's not about deprivation. Focus on nourishing your body with healthy, nutrient-rich foods during your eating windows. Think colorful vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats, and whole grains.
So it's not an excuse to indulge in unhealthy treats just because you're within your eating window.
Exactly. Quality over quantity is still key. And if you're finding it challenging to stick to a fasting schedule, don't beat yourself up. Life happens. Just get back on track when you can.
That's reassuring to hear. It's about progress, not perfection, right?
Absolutely. And remember, intermittent fasting isn't a magic bullet. It's one piece of the puzzle when it comes to healthy aging. It works best when combined with a balanced lifestyle that includes regular exercise, stress management, and quality sleep.
That makes perfect sense. It's all about creating a holistic approach to well-being.
Well said. And I think that's a key message for our listeners. Intermittent fasting can be a powerful tool for enhancing your health and vitality after 50, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Experiment, find what works best for you, and listen to your body's wisdom.
Those are words of wisdom indeed. Now, as we wrap up this fascinating conversation, what's the one thing you'd like our listeners to remember about intermittent fasting?
I'd say remember that you have more control over your health than you might realize. Intermittent fasting is one potential avenue to explore, and it might just surprise you with its transformative power. But knowledge is key. Do your research, consult with your doctor, and approach this journey with curiosity and an open mind.
Excellent advice. And for our listeners who want to delve deeper and learn more about this topic, we encourage you to check out our free Living Well After 50 newsletter. You'll find the link in the episode description. It's packed with practical tips, inspiring stories, and valuable resources to support you on your journey to aging gracefully and vibrantly.
It's a wonderful resource for anyone looking to embrace this chapter of life with vitality and purpose.
Absolutely. We'll be back in a moment to wrap up our deep dive into intermittent fasting with some final thoughts and a question to leave you pondering. Welcome back to Living Well After 50. We've been exploring the fascinating world of intermittent fasting and its potential benefits for those of us over 50. It's been a real eye-opener for me, and I hope you found it insightful as well.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you. Intermittent fasting is a topic that continues to spark my curiosity, and I'm always eager to learn more about its potential applications.
I completely agree. It feels like we've just scratched the surface today. But before we say goodbye, I'd love to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder. We've talked about the science, the benefits, the risks, and even the practicalities of intermittent fasting, but ultimately it comes down to personal choice and experimentation. So my question for you is this: what small changes could you make to your daily eating patterns to potentially reap the benefits of intermittent fasting?
That's a wonderful question to reflect on. It doesn't have to be a drastic overhaul. Maybe it's simply pushing back breakfast by an hour or two or skipping that late night snack. Even small tweaks can make a difference.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you, your lifestyle, and your body's unique needs. Maybe you start by trying a 12-hour fasting window a few times a week and see how you feel. The key is to approach it with curiosity and an open mind.
And remember, consistency is key. It's those small, sustainable changes that create lasting habits and ultimately lead to better health outcomes.
So true. It's not about perfection, but about progress. And who knows, those seemingly small adjustments might just spark a ripple effect, leading to improvements in your energy levels, mental clarity, and overall well-being.
And don't forget, we're here to support you on your journey. Our free Living Well After 50 newsletter is packed with evidence-based information, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you navigate this exciting chapter of life with confidence and vitality. You can find the link in the episode description.
We're a community here, and we're all in this together. So as we wrap up this deep dive into intermittent fasting, remember to embrace the power of possibility and take an active role in shaping your health destiny. We're cheering you on every step of the way.
Here's to living well after 50 and beyond.
Thanks for joining us today on Living Well After 50. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of healthy aging. Until then, take care and keep living well.